This afternoon, the California Office of Emergency Services has activated dozens of state, local, and federal agencies to monitor these power outages. CAL FIRE has also 15 additional fire engines ready to go at a moment's notice.
Joining us now is former FEMA coordinating officer Mark Neveau with the potential dangers that come with these shutoffs. Thanks so much for being in the studio with us.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's talk about some of these consequences. What are some of the top ones with no power?
Well, when we start talking about power outages to this degree, the impacts are huge. For instance, Johns Hopkins did a study, and they realized, and I want to quote this, our results from this study indicate that power outages can immediately and severely harm human health. So the key to that is that we're making a decision that the potential of wildfire is so great that we're going to shut power down to half the state. You know, the state of California is the 5th largest economy in the world. So when we start to shut power down, that affects freight that's flowing through. It's not just traffic lights. The irony to this, too, is that the Paradise Fire, most of the people who were killed in that fire were actually functional needs and elderly. And that same population base are the same ones that are affected by power outages because they don't have resources to move or to go to a hotel. Most of them are on some sort of medical equipment, oxygen. So when we shut power down, those are consequences that are huge. You know, in Long Island during Hurricane Sandy, because of the power outage, the President Obama, actually released fuel supplies out of the reserves to have that fuel transferred to gas stations in busy areas that had power. The idea behind that was not only to get fuel to those folks, but to quell the civil unrest. It required us to deploy 200 police officers on Long Island to control looting and some of the other things. So the impacts of the power shutoff, it's huge.
Yeah, this power shutoff could affect more than 1 million people in California. Marco, what else can be done when you shut off the power? What else can be done to solve that problem when you have a situation like this?
We want to make sure that PG&E is doing everything they can in terms of maintenance. We know the Paradise Fire, wires came together, sparked growth underneath the wires, and then the fire spread. Make sure maintenance is done. We also know in the Netherlands they've got a thing called self-help, which allows technology to shut down power when a power line is impacted by a falling limb instantaneously. So rather than go through this entire outage, why not use technology to solve some of these problems?
Okay. Mark Neveau, thank you so much for coming in the studio and giving us some insight.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks.
And just a reminder, we are your source for the latest information on the PG&E power shutoffs. You can find a complete survival guide on our website, KPIX.com.